I would like to now go to Abhijit, sir. Sir, like rugby, if there's another sport, like since we are talking about three sports today, rugby, cycling, and badminton. Badminton, to a certain extent, has gained popularity due to the presence of players like Sania Nehwal and due to the presence of players like PV Sindhu. But rugby and cycling, I don't think has gained that traction if you, in terms of media exposure, in terms of what you say, the common awareness among the people. So, like Paul sir said about rugby, can you please give a reckoner to our audience about what is going on in the entire cycling zone in India, the cycling sphere that is developing in India?
Okay, first I must say cycling is one of the oldest Olympic sports, which is being still on, right? And though cycling is not very much common in this part of the country, but at once upon a time, cycling was very much popular, and the Olympians represented from Bengal only to the Olympic Games in 1948 and 52, right? So some time back, I think around about 2013, we were ranking around about 131 in the world rankings, right? Our teams. Uh, as of now, right now today, India is ranked number one in the men juniors sprints, men junior time trial, and men junior Keurin. And we have the women junior also. They have been ranked number one in team sprints, and there's a girl who's been ranked number three in time trial. So if you compare the whole thing, it has been well popular and well being the media is being quite active in the northern parts of the country, like Punjab, Haryana, UP, Assam, who are the budding states. Previously, we knew Punjab was a warehouse and a production house of sports persons. But these days, what happens is the whole of the country are producing sports persons. What we are doing is we are picking up boys and girls at the grassroots level. Why? Because for to train a elite person for the next 8 years for the Olympics or the World Championships, it's rather difficult because he has already gained all the knowledge, or he has already gained all the training what he can, and through various different people. So what happens is it's a intermingle, it happens. He doesn't have the more capacity to take in, while there's a talk called catch them young. So we catch them young because
Sir, excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir.
yeah,
So sorry to
yeah.
interrupt you, but I think Ajay sir has something to say to all of our viewers. Sir, can you please go on?
Uh, Sorry, due to some personal emergency, I'm not able to continue with webinar. But surely next time I'm continue with this. Extremely sorry for this. Shubham, please you carry on.
No problem, sir. No problem.
You,
I'm sure, sir. All the best to whatever issue you are having. Please resolve it. All our best wishes to you, sir.
okay.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Shubham.
And
Next time I'm
it's looking
surely
forward.
continue.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to seeing you next time in our webinar. Thank you so
Sure,
much, sir.
sure. Thank you, Shubham. Thank
Okay.
you.
Abhijit, sir, so sorry to have interrupted you. You can please carry on.
No problem. Yeah. So, well, that's about thank you. Now we have developed a project. We are picking up youth people at the age of 13, 14, 15. We are putting them in academies. We have the National Center of Excellence, the National Cycling Academies. Cycling Federation of India has did a fantastic job in this. These we had till today. We don't have a foreign coach. They are being trained by us and are being world champions. This is a very big achievement for India because you see in each and every sport they have a foreign coach, excepting cycling, right? So and the rate we have another junior batch coming in the back, apart from these people, because most probably these guys will be turning seniors next year. So the junior batch who's awaited, they are also in the Asian medalist groups. So is Ladakh cycling is very much popular in the other parts of the city. It is also not, I won't say it's not popular in this part because there's a local girl called Triyasha Paul. She's being ranked number 3 in the world, and number 1 in team sprints. So it's not that these people, we have gathered all these girls and boys from a very small age, and these people have developed these skills and these capacities within a span of 2 years. So we have talents, we have the capacities. It is only the talent identification and the nurturing of the talents what speaks.
Definitely, sir. I'll just follow up a question on that part, that we need to be more concerned about the talent identification programs. So what do you think is lacking on our part, or on the government's part, or anyone's part, or any stakeholders part, that the entire arena of cycling is kind of being ignored by the media? In You are saying the media exposure is quite good enough in the northern regions, in the western regions, but what is the overall, if you say the overall scene, if you take India as a whole country, what's the scene there in terms of media, in terms of awareness?
Say that media is lacking behind, or the government or the federation or the people concerned, the stakeholders concerned are lacking behind cycling, because the government is doing their level best. They are providing all sort of facilities, all sort of coverage, all sort of sponsors. Our sponsors is C10 and Honda, right? And apart from the government, right? And they have been sponsoring us for the teams training abroad during seasons, and for for the championships in India, championships abroad. So, and I'll just tell you that we had the Khelo India Games in Assam in February. This is a fantastic media coverage. So I won't blame, I won't find any lacking on the part of the media. You know.
Sure, sir. I'll now come back to Paul, sir, who is, I think, grumpily staring at me for not asking enough questions, I guess. So I'm coming to you, sir. So can you please tell us about your journey? How a man from the United Kingdom who has done so much in the rugby scene there has came to India and like spotted a rugby revolution in form of the Jungle Crows. Can you tell us about the entire Jungle Crows journey? So your microphone is switched off, so you need to switch that on.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Sorry. So I guess it's been a quite an exciting journey. So I've no kind of great track record on the sport outside of India. I've got so I can't say I've come from abroad as some kind of phenomenal coach or some kind of player. So I just came to live in India, and I started a little rugby team. And so that team we called it the Jungle Crows from the very start. Trained on the Maidan in Calcutta. Run a small academy. We get a couple of hundred kids playing every week. And I suppose it's just that their commitment has inspired me as a coach and as an organizer of that, and other boys have got more senior. So we started that in 2004. So it's been running for quite some time. So you can imagine that the boys that started are now seniors and coaches, and they're bringing more and more young people into the game. So it's just about, for me, it's been about spreading the game, about getting more and more people to play, watching as the game has grown and got more popular. So it's been a really exciting journey. It's been really nice to see so many of the young people that we've trained and worked with go on to play for their country. I mean, I don't think any sportsman can reach much higher than playing for their country and putting on an India jersey and sort of standing for the national anthem is something very special that every sportsman, I think, wherever they are in the world, is excited by and motivated by. So it's really great when the youngsters get those opportunities.
Certainly, sir, certainly, and it is for people like you who are playing such a good part and such a great part in providing them the platform and providing them the exposure, the correct kind of exposure. Sir, you have been part of the rugby scene for quite a bit now. So I would like to put you on the spot and ask you a question regarding what has been the greatest achievement of yours in terms of being like doing uplifting the grassroots environment in India. What has been your greatest achievement, if you can mark it?
It's very difficult to say, and especially when there's a few of the players that are on the video conference. So I don't want to upset somebody by saying that something else was the greatest achievement rather than something that they've achieved. So I have to be a bit of a politician here. But I think we've got a lovely program up in the north of Bengal in the Siliguri, and to see the girls rugby players especially come from there, kind of fall in love with the game, be motivated by the opportunities that it gives them. And then those girls who are from a very, very rural background, really had no kind of exposure to organised sport of any type, kind of now playing for India. I think that's been really exciting. But I think for me, every time we get a new young person, new child picking up a rugby ball, wherever they are, however good they are, but just having that passion and having that enthusiasm for the game, that's when I get my buzz and get my kind of, that's when it clicks for me. It's just getting more and more people to love the game the way that all of us Jungle Crows do.
Sure, sir. I'll be very candid about it. It's very embarrassing to say this, but I don't know much about the rugby scene and the rugby game as a whole. But I can speak for like 60% of the other Indians. They consider the rugby sport to be something that you'll have to jostle your way through, you have to wrestle your way through opponents and tackle them down and do everything related to strength. So that's where my question comes in. Like, do you think rugby as a sport is only brute strength, or do you need the tactical prowess? You need the strategies as well.
Yeah, of course. It's like every game. It's about skill. It's about tactics. It's about all those things. Yes, you have to be strong. If you know, I'm sure. Abhijit, in cycling, you have to be strong. You have to be fit. You have to have amazing energy, amazing stamina. You know, you have to have those physical attributes. But those physical attributes without some kind of strategy or without, skills are worthless. So it's like every game. Although rugby, yeah, it's a physical game. You know, in Bengal they call it the fighting game. And yeah, there is that element. But, it's also about skill. It's about tactics. It's about having, different types of fitness. So you have some players that are very fast, some players that are big and heavy and strong. And it's a mixture of all those things, bringing those things all together in a team to have success, to play well.
So a footnote and like a very important notice to all our viewers who are watching this: please don't consider rugby to be only fighting game. Please, it's an extremely tactical sport. It requires strategy. It requires tactics. Please don't disregard it to be a kushti kind of a game. So I'll take some audience questions now. This question is for Abhijit sir. It's from Saikat Banerjee. It says, question to Abhijit sir: India is taking a step forward in track events for sure. But what is CFI, that is I believe the Cycling Federation of India, is doing to uplift the status of cycling in road cycling events?
Okay.
Should I repeat the question?
No, it's okay. I got it. See, the thing is this: once we were ranked in 171 in the world, so we could do one thing. That we had hosted the Commonwealth Games, we had hosted the Asian Championships, and we found out we sat together, we did a lot of permutation and combination, and we found out that we can develop the game in track at this time, because we have a world-class velodrome at New Delhi. And we that time had some good senior people who are really doing good in the circuit. So, and I won't say that we are lagging behind in the road cycling, right? Our teams have been participating. We are regularly having, before the COVID-19, we are regularly having camps at Patiala, the National Institute of Sports, and our team have been participating in Asian Championships, World Championships, and various other road tournaments. So I won't say that SCFI is not taking initiative regarding road cycling in India. We have some good cyclists who are ranked, who are not ranked very high, but at par, in the world.
I'd just like to sort of chip in, if that's all right, Subhan, and just say that I sort of follow some of the cyclists on social media. And I think that the achievements that the junior cyclists, particularly the track cyclists in the sprints, I
Yeah.
think it is, are incredible achievements. And, you know, there's this one boy who's a very glamorous guy who's from the Andamans. He's kind
Yeah.
of quite,
Esau.
yeah, he's quite a kind
Esau.
of,
Yeah.
Yes, so
he's quite a glamorous kind of Instagram guy. So, but you know, what achievements those guys, and they you know, they look the part, they kind of have the kit, they have done phenomenally well. So, you know, big congratulations on that. It's and you know, I can imagine that question. You have to choose your targets and attack your targets. If you try and do everything, then perhaps you won't do anything particularly well. So, you know, you've chosen a great target, you've attacked it, and you've achieved incredible things.
One more I think I would like to add
incredible
is
indeed.
this Esau, or what Paul was talking about. He is a tsunami survivor.
Yeah.
He caught this fellow playing football in Andamans. You know, he just came for the. We had a talent search, and he came to the side grounds, and but he was stout. He wasn't very moderate height, but he was stout, but very short. But we picked him up, and once we picked him and got him to Delhi, he was around about 13 years old. So he had showed an incredible talent, incredible determination, and his display of skills and everything, and he sees the results right now.
He should be a sportsman that India
Which
should
brings
know
me
more about. And I know that you do a lot of work with the press, and I read about it. But you know, it's great that we've got some young people here on the seminar who can learn about these great sportsmen, and they should be the inspiring
Yeah.
stories of the future. Absolutely. Sorry.
Sure. Please, the audience, I'll request the audience, I'll keep taking the questions every now and then. Please send in your questions related to rugby. Uh, to ever smiling Paul Walsh will be ever happy to answer all your questions. And I'm sure Abhijit sir will be equally happy to answer all
Yeah.
your questions. Please send in your questions in our chat box, and please switch off your microphones. Please don't switch it on. I'll move on with the session, and we'll take another audience question, and if you allow me. And this question is from Yamini Khairnar. I believe she's from Nasik. The question to Abhijit sir again.
Yeah.
CFI is working for national and international events. It's a great work. CFI is doing. But why is there no activity for grassroots development, especially for cycling? Why?
Um,
No.
thing happens is I think this is not a correct thing that CFI is not doing anything for the grassroots levels. We are having grassroots level trials for getting inside the academies, all the academies. We had once we came up to cycling with a level cycling in 2013. We had only one academy, that was at Delhi National Cycling Academy. We have four academies running in whole of India. One is at Pune, one will be at Pune, one is at Guwahati, one is at Delhi, another one is at Trivandrum. Another soon will be opening at Hyderabad. So we are having trials twice a year. One is at in the month of March, and one is in the month of September. Due to some these reasons, COVID reasons and all, we couldn't have this trial this year. There we are inducting boys and girls. We have some parameters. So we give the parameters. So these people get marks on parameters, and they have to perform in terms of the parameters given. So we select the whole of India. Right now, there are around about 500 odd trainees all over the country. So it's not a fact that CFI is not looking at the grassroots level. We have inducted coaches in the state level so that they can bring up the grassroots level cycling. So see, we try to catch them young. Why? Because we can put the knowledge. We can just regulate them. We can develop them. We can control them. Especially we can put them in a discipline. Because see, sports is such a thing. If you don't have discipline, you see, right? So it is very easy to regulate rather than getting into the age level who had already got the mark and they are.
there is some connection
Yeah.
issues on your part, I guess.
Okay.
Am I the only
No,
one who is facing it? Oh,
I can get you.
okay. Please carry on, sir.
Yeah. That's all. That's what I want to say. That it is not it's not true that Cycling Federation of India is even we are having meetings at this time because we just want the NCOs, that the National Center of Excellence, to open up by November. We are trying our level best. And mind one thing, that we are the only
I'm sure.
sports in India who doesn't have a foreign coach. We all have Indian coaches imparting all our technical ideas and knowledge to the cyclists. And the results we can see.
I'm sure, Yamini, you have got your answer. It's not a true fact that there's no enough grassroots development going on. There is. CFI is trying its best. And we'll move on. Audience, I'll request you to please send in your questions. I'll be asking them anytime. And the next question I would like to ask is to Paul, sir. Sir, in 2017, Khelo Rugby was selected to be a part of the World Rugby Spirit of program, Rugby Spirit of Rugby program. So, how has it impacted the things at the level of Khelo Rugby?
Well, it's been a marvellous thing for us. World Rugby is the global governing body of the game, manages the competitions, Rugby World Cup. Rugby World Cup today is probably, if you think of the soccer, football World Cup, then you perhaps have the Cricket World Cup, and then Rugby World Cup is just below that. And it's a high profile sport around the world. So yeah, we were selected as the Asian representative to form a project called Spirit of Rugby. Our Keller Rugby program had been going since the Commonwealth Games in Delhi. We were asked to do a little kind of social work with our with the rugby during the Commonwealth Games. Rugby was played at the Commonwealth Games. And so we sort of started this little social project using rugby to reach more children, using rugby to sort of go into a very, very grassroots, humble background children, get them playing. And so, yeah, getting this kind of recognition from World Rugby was incredible. It's very motivating for everybody. Has given us a great sort of platform, a great profile. So yeah, and it was for a 2-year program till 2019. Then it's been renewed again in 2019 for another 2 years. So let's hope they kind of keep that program going. It's difficult to know if they will. These things change. But yeah, it's a really, really empowering, motivating thing to be selected as the only sort of Asian representative of the Spirit of Rugby.
Wonderful, sir. Wonderful. So regarding the, I'll be talking about the post-COVID scenario. Since rugby is a contact sport, so I believe all the practices have stopped, like for any rugby practices or any rugby trainings. So how do you see in a post-COVID world people would be embracing rugby in the same spirit that they were doing it in the pre-COVID world?
Yeah, it's a big challenge. And yes, basically most of the practices have finished. We had some small practices up in Siliguri last week because these villages are obviously they're very remote, and actually there's been no coronavirus in the villages, so they kind of the children just came out and practiced. But yeah, other than that, really nothing is going on. So yeah, it's a big challenge how the virus develops. It's a team game. It involves contact. It involves physical contact. There are some versions of the game where the contact is minimal, so you can play a kind of game with some tags, so that you're not having sort of physical contact. But yeah, it's a challenge for every sort of major rugby playing nation in the world. Rugby is back in New Zealand. Obviously, New Zealand doesn't have any coronavirus, and they've had an incredibly successful tournament there that finishes this weekend. But yeah, it's going to be a real challenge that we are kind of thinking about how we'll take that on. Absolutely, it's a big challenge. No simple answers. I wish it was cycling, because I think in cycling you can have that sort of social distancing can work a bit better, can't it? Than in a rugby field with 15, 30 people piling on top of each other. It's not really possible.
That's true.
Yeah. I'll bring in Vijit sir's opinion on this as well. So, what do you think in the post-COVID era? What's the impact on cycling? I don't think cycling has that much of an impact that rugby has, COVID has on rugby.
No, it has an impact because whatever training we are doing at indoors, what I can say is doing some rollers or home trainers or strength training. See, all the gyms and all were closed, so people have been eagerly trying to get in, buy some weights and do some weight training. But to do something under guidance is entirely different. You doing at home, the speed, the endurance, and the motivation and the wind resistance, which plays a very vital role. These are the factors that play a role. And apart from that, we have events where there's a mass participation, like the road master, the track Kiran races, the track master. So they do play the impact on the the COVID situation. So, and people are literally waiting. Some, it depends on parts of the country. Some parts they still have a lockdown in Assam and all, and Hyderabad they still have a lockdown, and people are unable to go out for training. So, in other parts, some parts they are really doing some good training, but the track work and the speed and the strength, it is not there. So it's definitely going to be difficult for the top level elite players to cope up with the situation.
Okay. All the heavy bulldozing questions I think has an effect on both our speakers who are searching for some respite. I guess I will take a short information break in this webinar. I guess we'll take other people call it commercial break. We call it information break. We'll be giving out some information. I think Paul sir and Abhijit sir can take some lemonades or sip in some water to refresh
Yeah.
this.
There's some snacks available.
Some snacks if available. The perfect stuff. At the end, please
Nobody,
bear with us.
nobody served any snacks.
Oh, I'm so sorry. We have to cash hold of our CEO Sanjay Srivastava for that. I'll definitely take this message across, and you can personally text him and tell him to please provide snacks. And with that we come to an end to our what you call say an information break. So anybody who is interested in knowing about our services can log into www.ideasports.com, and we have a whole lot of information available there as well. So now back to the grinding questions. If gentlemen you are ready. So I think we'll take some audience questions as well because they are sending way a lot of questions. Yamini Khaina says, thank you, sir, for your answer. Thank you, Abhijit, sir, for your great answer. Yamini says, thank you. And I think we'll have an audience question for Paul, sir, now. Paul, sir, this is a question from Saikat Banerjee. He says, do you think in the sport like rugby, genetics play a bigger role where the body structure of athletes in Europe, Australia, and New Zealand have completely different body structure than Asians? What do you think is the role of genetics in rugby?
So yeah, genetics has a role, of course, in any sport. But I don't think that the Asian genetics are in any way, don't meet the mark compared to Europeans or others. It's all about diet. It's all about training, conditioning. I did a lot of work some years back with the Indian Army rugby team, and if anybody was to stand in front of them and talk about their perhaps less genetics, then they'd have to be a fast runner, because those guys are big, they are strong, they are, brave amongst brave, and so they are just the absolutely incredible. So it's genetics. There's people do say that to me often about, oh, how can an Indian play rugby? The lad, I can't remember his name, in Andamans, the cyclist, Abhijit mentioned his name. Sorry, I've forgotten his name. But I follow him on. Get him on Instagram and look at his legs.
Yeah.
There is no.
He came as a skinny boy. He came as a skinny boy and see his physique now, right now. He's been competing with the world-class elite athletes.
Yeah, so there's this genetics argument is all rubbish.
Yeah,
I'm afraid it's an excuse by some people,
exactly.
but it's about there's issues, of course. Diet has to be there, the right sort of conditioning, the right sort of training. There's a huge amount that goes into creating an international athlete or a good national athlete or a state athlete. Everybody has, we have to. There's a lot goes into it, and so genetics. I'm afraid I don't go with that one at all. Bengal is difficult. We've got little guys in Bengal, but then if you need little guys in rugby. That's the great thing about rugby. We have little guys, big guys, short guys, fast guys, slower guys, everything. So it's like that's why India has this amazing genetic pool, really. Because you've got everything here, absolutely everything. It's brilliant. It just needs that kind of polishing and what the cyclists have managed to do. Huh?
And in any sport, I think spirit trumps physicality, and spirit trumps the physical aspect or shortgameness. Hands down.
Sometimes, but at the very elite level, yeah, you have to have the right spirit, the right teamwork. But if you're putting in a game, in some games, if you're putting a 6 foot guy, you're playing volleyball, and you've got 6.5 foot guys against 5.5 foot guys. How much spirit the 5.5 foot guys have, they're not going to beat the 6.5 foot guys. But India has the 6.5 foot guys. That's the great thing. India has those guys.
Yeah, sure, India has. And we'll move on to the next audience question. I think we have been receiving quite a lot of questions. And this is from Arnav Chaurasia. This is a question for Abhijit, sir. He says, can we expect any cycling event this year?
Exactly the scenario, COVID scenario, India is worsening day by day. So we were thinking of reopening our academies, and we were trying to get the national, the national center of excellencies to be on, by September. So at this time, we don't expect anything before November. At this time, so I don't know if scenario changes. We may have it. If it doesn't, we may have it sometime early next year by March.
Arnav, I think that answer is clear to you. Saikat Banerjee says, thank you, Paul, sir, for your answer. Thank you, Saikat, for your question as well. And we'll be coming to the last couple of audience questions. This is a question from Shivanshu S. This question is for, I think, both of them. This is what role does the cost of equipment and sport gear for a specific sport plays in attracting young individuals from the grassroots level? You both can answer one by one.
Well, my answer is very quick because in rugby you just need a rugby ball, so it's kind of there's no barrier in terms of equipment, perhaps space, but not in terms of equipment.
Yeah, so rugby is quite easy in that aspect. It's more difficult that is cycling.
Yeah. We play that. Cycling is a combination between the man and the machine, right?
Yeah.
So what the thing happens is the equipments, the spare parts, and everything plays a very, very vital role. Like the players, the elite players who are doing the world championships and all, they are using cycles. That being sponsored by the Indian government, but they are so costly. It is very difficult. I wouldn't say it is not procurable, but it's very difficult for a grassroots level player to get that sort of equipment unless and until he comes up to that level, right? But on the other hand, if we think that we will start off with a normal Indian-made cycles and we will shift on to the other, that's also different because these equipments, once you have a different posture, a different stance, a different way to resist the air, so it will be the developments, skill development, what has been acquired in the younger age, it will be carrying it along the next phases. So the equipments play a very, very vital role in cycling, and they are very costly. So it's really a par for the grassroots level because I would again say 90% of the Indian sportsmen who are real good elite sportsmen come from mediocre families, right? and and they are really from the villages, some are from the districts, and they have really struggled a lot. Right? What they get is when they come to a level, then they get the facilities, they get the equipments, then they get the diet, they get the proper training, but not before that. So from the grassroots level till the time they come to an actual competition level, they struggle a lot. So we are trying to get on this so that this phase can be shortened a bit. The government is also on it. They understand we have a fantastic person as a sports minister, union sports minister, and he's been onto it. He personally visits the cycling velodromes. He personally been onto the ground level and checks up everything's okay. So we think that this by some time, by a couple of years, we should end this chapter, and these people will be highly eased to get up to the level, up to the mark where they are right now.
Yeah, since you spoke about elite level sports participation, so what is the status of investment? That is investment and sponsorship in cycling, and I'll ask it to Paul sir about rugby later. So, what is the status of investment and sponsorship that is coming on, whether be it private sector or be it from the government? What is the level of?
Uh, See, sponsorship in terms, and we have the Cycling Federation of India has sponsors onto the national level because they have been
Yeah,
sponsoring the national team and all. But excuse me. But in the states, there I won't say no. There are some states who are being sponsored, but there are states who are not being sponsored. The people who are not being sponsored, they have a very difficult time because they have to. The guys have to get their own equipments to come to the trials, to give the trials to participate in the nationals, and from the nationals, to the national coaching camps. It's that part when they will be provided cycles by the government, but till that time they really struggle to get the equipments.
yeah. Paul
But
sir, if
I
you
think
can,
it's very costly also. It's very
yeah,
costly also.
sure it is. Paul sir, can you please speak about the rugby aspect of sponsorship and investment?
Yeah, I mean sponsorship. The National Federation Rugby India has hit its sponsorship levels, and they currently they seem to be doing quite well in attracting sort of corporate sponsors. I think as Abhijit was talking about, I think once you go below the kind of national level, then it becomes more challenging. Finding team sponsors just to cover costs to travel around the country, get the right sort of supplies and nutrition and food for players. It's a challenger because there's very little below the national level. There's very little profile. It's quite hard to get that profile. And most sponsors, we've been lucky that some sponsors they kind of take that approach where they like to see a grassroots, a development project, and they think it's a nice thing to support, and they're interested in that. But for the kind of big money, I think that you need to have profile. You need to be able to offer something. Subham, you're into sponsorship, so what you should be doing, Subham, is getting us all sponsors, and and sending them all to us. But yeah, it's challenging. It's challenging. It's challenging.
Challenging, it's sure, but things are going at a good pace and gathering momentum, I guess. And I
I
think I can speak for the both the sports.
I think that the coronavirus, the pandemic, has set us all back.
Yeah, sure.
Unquestionably, corporates have got less money. Everybody's got less money. There's going to be a tough sponsorship market for 18 months, 2 years, perhaps. Because but I think that but if we look at where perhaps India was 10 years ago to where it is today, then it's a really positive story that that corporates are interested in sport. We have these gold medal programs. I mean, almost every major corporate in the country has an interest in sport, some more than some less. So yeah, it's a really good market. It's a really good. There's a lot of interest in sports. People want to see Indian sports teams do well, Indian athletes do well. So I think it's a good time. Just that we've all been set back for sure. We've all been set back.
And I think when this COVID dust settles, there will be light at the end of the tunnel, and we all hope so, and we pray for it. And there will be many better things that are yet to come. So So after all these heavy duty questions, I will be now be shifting to some philosophical questions that I'm that I'm sure Paul sir and Abhijit sir will be acing. So since today is the International Youth Day, so our program has been aptly named or being christened as today's dreamers, tomorrow's leaders. So according to both of you, so how important is it for the youth to dream? How important is for the youth to have a dream? So what do you think? I will start with Abhijit sir maybe.
Uh, we have a caption like catch them young. Why? Because a role of a youth, they play a very vital role in the constructive process of building social cohesion. What do you say? Economic prosperity, political stability, and these sort of things for building up a nation, right? What you said, that youth they have dreams, hopes, passion, and it's passion that is driving the youth. So if we can catch them, we can really they really yearn to achieve something in life. So once we can catch them and bring it on the right correct track, we can really get the best out of them. So we try to get the best out of them, like once we catch them young. That's just the difference between catching them on an elite level and catching them young. That's the policy of the government right now, what we are doing, right? And the youth, these people, they can change the whole society, because they say that they are, the old process, the negative characters of society and all. They try to overcome those and bring up the new, the latest, and everything of the society. And to see, one thing is there with these people, really, if we can organize them, if we can make them disciplined, if we can, because once you must see that if you don't have, if you have everything, you have strength, speed, whatever, if you are a big sportsman, if you don't have a discipline, you cannot go ahead in life. That's the only thing, we maintain. Still, I would just like to say, that in the national camps, still today, mobile phones are still not allowed in our camps, and that's how we have developed the world champions as of now.
Yeah. Paul sir, how important is to dream for you?
Um, yeah, I think that being around and having young people dreaming is a great thing. I think it can't just be dreaming on its own. There has to be some focus, some determination. But for me, it's very important because that's what motivates me. I'm motivated by the young people that come and play, that want to learn the game, that want to excel, that want to achieve. And I'm an old man now, so I just rely on these young people to come up and give me motivation. And when I see a young person who has a dream, who has an ambition, who has that bit of determination, that dream has to be there, but there has to be that little edge of determination, that little edge of ambition. So, and when you see that little spark inside a youngster, then that's a great motivation for people young and old. And it's lovely to see, and it's amazing to work with people who have that motivation and that ambition and those dreams.
So the youth, you have clearly heard. Please don't stop dreaming, and please don't stop working hard for your dreams to achieve.
Exactly.
And if you work hard and if you have the right kind of attitude and right kind of passion, no dream is small, and every dream can be achieved. Now we have come to the almost the end of our program, and now it's my favorite section where we ask our guests to tell some good things about us. So tell us, Abhijit sir and Paul sir, how did you like the program? Did you have to say anything about me? Did I bore you? Did I trouble you? And what do you think about the entire initiative of us?
It was a nice experience today because Mr. Sanjay had called me yesterday telling me that he was organizing a program, and if I would make some time to join this. Because for the last few months during the COVID lockdown period and all, we were going through all sorts of webinars, coach development programs and e-Pathshala by the government. So each and every day I had to be preparing and doing things and everything. So I was really, and it was difficult for me, to cope up with things. So, but today's program was really different. It was a set of questions from the audience, and we could hear from Paul a lot of things. It was a nice experience.
Paul, sir.
Yeah, same for me. It's it's nice to be involved in something like this. It's nice to have some questions that are not that aren't kind of about work and just banging away at spreadsheets and all that kind of stuff. So it's really nice, and you've got a great kind of group of audience. And yeah, when I got the phone call, I thought, oh, what's this going to be? And but Sanjay convinced me to do it. So yeah, and I'm very happy I did. And you've been excellent, Shivam. So thank you. You've been a brilliant MC.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. That's a spring in my step. And
It was last year. Last year in the month of September, I got a phone call from him. The first time he had been telling me about that Fit Expo in December. It was a difficult program, that time when I met him. And he had been pestering me with a Fit Expo, but unfortunately, I just couldn't get that through because I have a lot of other engagements during that time, the nationals and other Ex-National program. But it was a great meeting him and knowing. I mean, he had been sending me all the webinars happening. I mean, going through that, joining. So it was a lovely experience for, and I just
Paul, sir, your
grassroots level, what I see.
Hello. Yeah. So yeah, very well done to Ideas. I've been to some of your events. It's always good. Keep up the good work. We need young people like yourselves who are pushing forward. For sports to sort of carry on and be sustainable, we need people working hard, having creative ideas across everything. We need people like Abhijit Sett who are training fantastic, doing great, gaining fantastic results. You can laugh and smile. What achievements? We need people like Sanjay and Ideas to kind of underpin that. And we need all these young people who are listening and watching this to live their dreams. And if Ideas is part of that, is absolutely a part of that kind of that network. So well done to you guys.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Paul, sir. Thank you, Abhijit, sir, for so graciously doing this with us. Our program wouldn't have been possible without the cooperation of both of you. Thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you so much, and thank you to the audience for providing such great questions, such interactive audience we had today. Thank you so much. We want to wrap this up right now. So again, a very happy International Youth Day to all, and an advanced happy Independence Day to all our audience as well. Thank you so much. Thank you, Abhijit sir. Thank you, Paul sir, once again. Till next time.
Pleasure.